Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. I, female 33, lost my husband in an accident and he passed away shortly after he arrived at the hospital. We have two girls who are 9 and 5 and it's been very devastating and very difficult to be taking care of them while going through these tough times. My mom would help a lot and I'm so thankful for that. My in-laws have been keeping to themselves, but my brother-in-law would often visit to see the girls. He's always wanted kids of his own, but hasn't been able to because his wife has medical issues. He treats my girls well and has been generous, but treats me poorly and makes comments and criticizes my parenting often. He implied he wanted to be their guardian, but I told him no. He started demanding I bring the girls over to my in-laws' house and would get upset when I tell him I have to work. He'd claim I'm clearly not taking care of the girls and don't fit to be a single parent. We got into a huge argument after I told him I no longer will be welcoming him into my house because of his behavior. And he then reported me to Child Protective Services after I refused to let him into my house. He claimed that I'm not taking good care of my girls' needs, refusing to let them see their grandparents, being busy with work and other things I don't know about. I had to deal with CPS once. Then after, they did a surprise visit and thank goodness it went well, although I was told to deal with some issues that are normal in every family. I told my in-laws about what their brother-in-law did, but didn't do anything. His wife was the one who told me eventually. It's been over a month now. My in-laws are calling me to tell me that I should let my brother see the girls after I told them that only they can see my girls. I refused to let him see the girls after what he did and the disrespect he showed, but my in-laws are pressuring me saying these are their granddaughters and I have no right to act like this just out of spite. Edit. To say that the issues I'm dealing with are trying to balance my working hours with the time I spend with the girls. I have my mom either come over or I take them to her house so I can pick them up after I get off work. Another thing is therapy, and my girls are currently in therapy. I'm trying to take it slow, but it's just so overwhelming, and then having to deal with my brother-in-law's behavior is just a lot for me, and there isn't anything more I want than to spend time with my girls, but I have to work since no one else is willing to help with anything. I'm not the person who feels comfortable asking for help, so I do all I can. My brother-in-law says he wants to see the girls because it's been a while since he saw them and he misses them a lot. But I don't want him around after what he did. I can't even look at him. After this, he made my grief worse and I won't be able to forgive him soon. Not the a-hole. He called CPS on you. Don't listen to anyone, seriously. If he's willing to do something so serious over something so small, I wouldn't trust him near my kids. Who knows what he will tell them, manipulate them. And for them to say she's acting out of spite, dude, if you try to break my ribs with a baseball bat and I stop hanging out with you as a result, it's not out of spite that's motivating me. It's sheer concern for my own safety. This is not the last time they'll be pulling this bullcrap. There is a fundamental lack of respect happening here. Not the a-hole. I know it's hard with everything you're going through, but you need to take some time to consult a family law attorney. An unfounded call to CPS by a family member is akin to a nuclear strike. Is there anything else besides your children, such as assets that your brother-in-law thinks should be kept in the family, that he would want to control? Was your husband the eldest son, or is your brother-in-law the eldest son? What would happen if your in-laws joined with your brother-in-law to exert control? Even if there aren't significant assets, it would be wise to sit down with a financial advisor. You'd be surprised at how stupid people get when someone is drawing Social Security survivor benefits. At the very least, move your bank accounts to a different bank in order to cut down on the possibility of a family member snooping and password protect the girls and your medical records. All in-law visits now take place at your house as you see fit. Avoid a set of schedule in order to decrease the possibility of a grandparent rights case. Look at the extended in-law family. Is there anyone in a position to mess in your business? You got this, Mama Bear. Not the a-hole. First, I'm truly sorry for your loss. Second, oh my God, the audacity and entitlement your brother-in-law is showing is absolutely mind-boggling. You and your children are grieving right now, and you're also having to shift to being a single working mom. I have no idea the mental gymnastics your brother-in-law is going through to think that ripping your girls away from their remaining parents to go live with your aunt and uncle is a good idea. After filing a false report to CPS, slandering you to do so, and then acting as if you're the selfish and spiteful one, when you make the rational decision to stop any and all contact he has with your children, he absolutely does not deserve to be anywhere near your children. I would recommend you consult with a lawyer in case your brother-in-law decides to try again to steal your children from you. Based on the response from your in-laws and brother-in-law, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried something else toward the end. It's so draining, but I don't complain, fearing that what I say might be used against me. I let him get away with a lot of offensive and hurtful words and actions, but this is a lot to take. I don't care how sorry he is. He still disrespects me and thinks I'm a worthless mother when he knows nothing about what I'm going through. I have my family and a few, but not too many friends that really stood by my side and helped me tremendously. And I'm just so thankful to have them in my life, especially in these tough times. Next story. When my wife and I got married, we were both working. After our first child was born, she wanted to quit, completely her decision. I started working more to compensate, and she started taking care of the house and the kid. I'm a pretty clean person, and I help whenever I can or if she asks. I'm an involved parent. Then we had another kid, and I started working even more. At the end of 2019, my wife flew to her home country to visit her parents. Airports were shut down and all the flights were canceled before she could come back home. There was a lot of red tape to unravel here, and we couldn't get her back home until May. Like I said, the only reason I didn't do household work was because I was working too much, and I discussed that with my wife and she was okay with taking care of the household. I've lived alone for several years, and until she quit her job, I always did my share of everything. I'm pretty far from helpless. At first, I freaked out a little as I couldn't work from home and I had kids, 7 male and 2 female to take care of. In the end, I figured it out. I was stretched a bit, but it was nothing unmanageable. My wife came back home in the beginning of May 2020. She was very happy to be home and we were all happy to have her back. There didn't seem to be any problem. Few weeks ago, we were having dinner at our house with one of our couple friends when my wife told them that I was miserable without her, that the kids were miserable, that the house was a disaster, that she had so much stuff to clean up, etc. She basically said that I was helpless without her and that I couldn't take care of anything while she was gone. I kind of chuckled awkwardly. I told her that the kids and I were definitely miserable sometimes because we missed her, but nothing other than that was true. I told her not to lie about me or my ability to take care of the kids. After dinner, she was extremely mad at me and told me that I was a jerk and that I should have just played along. She told me that she felt awful that I could manage everything without her, and she felt that she didn't need her and that she was insignificant. I obviously tried to tell her that it wasn't the case, but she kept yelling at me and made me sleep on the couch. Here's the thing. Just because she isn't employed doesn't mean she can't work, doesn't know how to work. Similarly, just because I don't do things now doesn't mean I can't do it. I think it's demeaning to have me pretend that I'm a man-child who has to be babied, doesn't know how to do the basic things, cannot take care of my own children just so that she can feel better about herself. I don't think it's right to portray me as an incompetent person because she feels insecure. However, she's still really upset and I'm not sure anymore. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not going along with this lie? Not the a-hole. If I was in her position, I would be nonstop bragging to people about how great you had been as a caring father and understanding husband. You were basically a single dad for a few months. That's not an easy task. She should be gloating nonstop about you, not tearing you down. Right? In actual song, I'd be calling his mom up saying, I need the manual on how you raised your kid so I can follow it to the letter. I'd carry his picture saying, this is the reason I have more than one kid. I'm trying to make more of him. She should be stoked to know that if anything happened to her, he'd be able to pick up the slack like a damn hero. I'd be bragging to every girl I know. Hell, guys too. She's not seeing the big picture here. My dad banned the Bernstein Bears books from our house because he said that all the stories were about how the dad was an idiot and he didn't want us learning that. It is now a fond memory of my dad being stubborn as F about the power of stories. Not the a-hole, but you have received some very important information here from your wife. She feels unnecessary and insignificant to your family. Don't get caught up in the who was right at the dinner party sideshow. You were right. Because it doesn't matter. She feels insignificant in your family. Don't let this slide by. Do you want to lose an arm, wife? Because that's how you lose a wife. You need to put your kids to bed a little early one weekend and have a long talk about changing things. Not because you don't appreciate her and what she does, but because your wife is desperately unhappy. This moment of her being an a-hole is a signal flare. Don't focus on the flare. Help the woman who's drowning. Not the a-hole. She tried to throw you under the bus in front of your friends and expected you to just suck it up and play the poor, useless husband who can't cope. Ask yourself what she would have said had you done what she did and brought up how easily you coped without her and that she clearly didn't do much. How would she have reacted? Would she have just played along? Your wife wanted to make herself feel better by bringing you down in front of her friends and then expecting you to go along with it. It's not like she discussed this with you before you had dinner with friends. She's mad because she got caught in her own lies and it's her own fault. She's being unreasonable and it's not your fault you stepped up even more when she was unavailable. It sounds like she needs to seek help for those insecurities. Not the a-hole. I always speak up for my husband and relay all the things he's done for me and for our children. I let people know he's an exceptional father, husband, and helper. Your wife is supposed to be your advocate, and she is the a-hole majorly for insulting you and trying to pass it off as a cute little man-hating joke. That's just me. I've left at least 3 friends group in my 5-year marriage because all the women wanted to do was sit around and fuss about their husbands and try to belittle me for refusing to do the same. You deserve better treatment, original poster. Next story. I, 57 male, have 2 kids. N, 30 male, and A, 27 female. N works part-time flipping burgers, but insists his real job is as a gaming streamer. A claims she's a professional influencer, her livelihood supported by her boyfriend. My kids are adults. What they do with their lives is their choice. We've had several arguments about it, but ultimately, as adults, the responsibility of their lives is their own. Over Christmas, we were talking about their mother on Zoom when A brought up the subject of her will, wondering if she'd left them anything. I confessed that she passed before ever writing one, and the money she did have was used up the year she passed. We were a dual income family in a time when neither of us were making a lot. It was a hard time. Eventually, I joined a friend in a private sector and my fortune changed. I'm not rich, but I'll never be uncomfortable again. Well, N then decided to lighten the mood by implying that I'll make up for it when I pass. I asked him what he meant and the conversation went as follows. Me. What do you mean? N. Well, you have a lot of money, right? It'll go to us. Me. And who told you that? A. What do you mean? Me. I've made it very clear that I don't approve of the way you both live. You both chose not to get an education or real jobs. You have no way of supporting yourself. I often buy them groceries. You refuse to help yourself, so why would I enable your lifestyles by leaving you my savings when I die? You want my money? Then grow up and get real jobs. But the bank of dad will be forever closed when dad is forever closed. What followed was a heated argument where both N and A accused me of being manipulative and unsupportive, so I got real with them. Me. You both refuse to grow up. Flipping burgers is an honorable job, but it's not going to keep a roof over your head. What if you have kids? What if you get fired? And A, what will you do if your boyfriend breaks up with you because all you do is sit on your A all day and take photos of yourself? You want to do that? Find a modeling agency, a real job. You both speak of chasing your dreams, but neither one of you is in any position to do that because neither of you wants to take responsibility for yourselves right now. I've said it a million times, you're adults. What you do with your lives is your choice and your responsibility. Dreams take money and neither of you have that. Grow up, get a job, a real job, then chase your dreams. I'm not going to leave a penny to either of you if your life plan is to just get by until I die. Then coast through the rest of your lives off the earnings of my hard work. And ended the call after a prolonged silence. A called me an a-hole, then did the same. I haven't heard from either since, and neither will take my calls. So, am I the a-hole here? I think I might be because I was unnecessarily harsh on Christmas. Edit. Some of the feedback coming at me is because I'm critical of their jobs. To be clear, a job is something that you make money from. Neither earn any money as a streamer or influencer. And I defend my opinion of flipping burgers. It's an honorable job, but not a career if you're doing it part-time like my son, thus making him ineligible for promotion. If he were working full-time, I would be worried. but I know he's taking responsibility for his life. This conversation has come up a lot during the pandemic. My son was laid off and my daughter isn't working, but both have been speaking a lot about their jobs as a streamer and influencer while bringing in no money to show for it. We've argued about it a lot and it just came to a head when they brought up my will. Not the a-hole. It's your money, do as you please. I have friends who stream and make a little money from it, but it's clearly only a side hustle. Getting big enough to support yourself on streaming or as an influencer is incredibly unstable. What if you get banned from the platform? Streamers, YouTubers, influencers is extremely volatile market, and an audience you build over years can disappear overnight. At minimum, it's smart to have a reliable skill to fall back on. I confess, I know very little about how either industry works. All I know is that my son spends countless hours streaming himself playing video games, and my daughter sits around all day taking photos of herself claiming she's an influencer. Finally, an opportunity to use my knowledge. I've worked with digital content creators and influencers for 6 years. I've directly supported thousands of them and seen their earnings month to month. A very small percentage of them make enough to survive day to day, and plenty of them will have a high earning year or two, then fall back down, and ultimately have to go back to a normal job. They're always heartbroken. Unless they're bankrolled by family or a partner, no one does streaming or digital content full-time until they are making a legitimate full-time salary. Your kids are far too old to be this delusional. I'll brace for the downvotes, but honestly, not the a-hole. It would be one thing if they were doing these things on the side and supplementing with another job that provided enough income for them to live, and another thing still if they were actually making money from their influencing and streaming. But it sounds like both of them are scraping by due to the charity of others and don't have any kind of sustainable life plan. This may be fine for a while in your early 20s, but one kid is 30 and one is heading there shortly. It's time for them to take some responsibility. They can still have dreams and pursue them on the side, but at 30, you'd better be able to buy your own groceries or at least hustling to do your best to buy them. Should you maybe have picked another day other than Christmas to lay these truths on them? Possibly, but your son is the one who picked Christmas to say, when you die, we're getting that money. So I don't blame you for going there when you did. I also suspect they wouldn't have taken this news any better on a random day either. Truth hurts sometimes. You're only 57, Jesus. You could potentially live for 30 to 40 more years. What was their plan? To live in poverty until their 60s or 70s? And what if you need expensive medical care later on or care services in your old age that wipes out your retirement money? Not only are they entitled as hell, but they have no idea how the world works or how to realistically plan for the future. Not the a-hole.